Hello everyone, I'm Popular Paxton, and this is the second time I've shown my face on camera. The first time was when I did a little house tour of my new condo back in October of 2021. And I'm here now in my garage to give a little bit of an update, kind of make this little public announcement to the train fans out there. And then I'm going to get to this new layout that I'm going to show you. So the announcement is that there's this train museum in Cincinnati, Ohio called Entertrainment Junction that recently announced that it's going to be closing its doors in January of 2025, so at the start of next year. I've been there a few times in the past. The most recent time I went was when I was attending a train show there, where I got to see train fans, meet a couple people, one of them being Thomas Winter Railway, and I haven't been back since. And so not long after the announcement that Entertrainment Junction was going to be closing down, they said that they were going to be hosting one last Thomas and Friends fandom meetup and train show on August 3rd of this year, 2024, which is coming up in a little less than a week now. So I am going to be going to that train show, and I'm actually going to be having my own table display. I don't know who's going to be there and who's not going to be able to attend, but I wanted to make this video not just to announce that Entertainment Junction is closing down and that they're holding one last fandom meetup there on August 3rd, but to show off this layout that's going to be for my table display at the train show. So in just a second I'll show off the layout, and the rest will just be the layout tour. And so here's the layout that anyone who's able to go to the train show will be able to see on my table display. Now, a couple of things I'll point out. One, the table I'm going to have is not going to be this small. Like, this table only measures 6 feet. The table I'm going to be able to have at the show is going to be 8 feet. So this layout will be on one side of the table, and then the extra 2 feet will hold space for me to put some extra trains on display, place my laptop there. You may just see some new video that's playing on it, and anything else I can show off on the table. But now let's get to the layout part. So I will start on this side at the T-switch. So one other thing I want to say real quickly is that these trains you see on the layout are only to just show off the layout. They're only for the purpose of the layout video. I have other trains that I have packed up that I'll be taking to the train show to display. So anyone who's at Entertainment Junction on Saturday, August 3rd, will be able to see those, but not these trains. Anyway, so here at the T-switch, if we go this way, we go around a curve to a switch where this track leads to 2 sidings side by side. And then if we continue down the main line, we come to another switch. This track goes to another switch. This line on the left goes into Henry's Tunnel. Here are Spencer's coaches, and then on the other side of Henry's Tunnel is Spencer himself coming out. He goes around a curve to another switch. Here's a siding with a small house next to it and some buffers. This track connects back to this switch, which goes around back to the T-switch. And then here is Birdie right here. You've seen this Birdie in my Trust Thomas rewrite, and no one's really brought this up, but this birdie is a bit of a custom. It's an old style birdie with its face removed and then The face is replaced by the one with the new style learning curve birdie. I did have to take a Dremel to uncut off this little thing that was sticking on the top of the face. And once I cut that off and it looked good, I stuck it on this birdie so that I have a birdie with a good face, like particularly one with eyebrows, who has passengers inside him. Thomas Winterberry did a similar thing, but he used a Mattel birdie face instead of the learning curve new style birdie face. But my version still looks good. So yeah, I wanted to point out that that birdie was a custom. And here's the signal box, and here's the Crosby Station cargo truck. I'll just park it near the buffers over there. And then back to this switch. If we go this way, we come to yet another switch. This track goes into a siding that goes underneath the tracks on top of Henry's Tunnel. And this track goes into another siding right here. And so if we go back to this switch, we continue straight, go past the Sodor Ironworks with the melting pot. And here is Frank, and you may be thinking, what the heck happened to Frank? Well, this actually isn't the Frank that I've owned for a long time. This is a different Frank that I actually bought from the train show at Entertainment Junction back in 2021. Now you may be wondering, why the heck did I buy this Frank if he's in this condition? Well, he was just part of a lot of other tracks or buildings and other trains that I bought. So he was included with it, so he was just part of the deal. So he's just been scribbled on by like marker or pen or whatever. And he's just a mess. He looks all dirty and stuff. And even his lamp and his nose are colored. In the back of his cap's a mess. But I'm actually thinking that when I do the Medieval Misadventures reboot, which is still in the works by the way, I really hope I can get production started in like early August, hopefully. But anyways, when I do the Medieval Misadventures reboot, this Frank, besides the regular clean Frank, will probably be used as a original diesel. And I will probably name this diesel Smoke because he's just all dirty, like he's been covered in the dust and dirt from smoke. And Smoke, the name Smoke, comes from this character that came from a canceled Thompson Friends movie that I believe was meant to come out in 2009, but it got canceled. You can look it up on the Thomas Wiki. I believe it's called The Adventures of Thomas. But yeah, there was supposed to be this diesel engine named Smoke. So I'm just taking this Dirty Frank and giving it that name since Smoke never actually appeared, made it to the screen at all. And yeah, so one last look at him before I continue on with the layout tour. Now, continuing on past Smoke, there's another switch here. This track goes around and around the edge of this table, around a sharp curve, goes under the viaduct, this bridge, and then there's a siding that goes right here and stops by Colin at the wharf, even though it's not much of a wharf. Here's Patrick, the cement mixer, admiring the Man in the Hills figure. And then back to this junction. This track goes over a X crossing track. Here's Ryan filling up with water, and he's got a bit of a train of recycling trucks and the spiteful brake van. And then if we go back to this track here, it goes over an arched stone bridge, over the X crossing track, under the bridge, to another switch. Here's a siding right here with Caroline parked next to it. Here's a tunnel. And then here is Fergus pulling 2 empty trucks and a brake van. He's going by this crane. And there's the switch that we were recently at where Spencer is approaching. And then back at the T-switch, this track goes to 3 separate tracks that go up onto Henry's Tunnel. Then come back to one and go down the dinosaur fossil quarry mine tunnel. and then to the switch where Ryan is filling up with water. And on top of Henry's tunnel, Hank is pulling Rocky, and he stopped to help Dolliver, who has derailed at the top while pulling 3 different Chinese dragons. There's the original Chinese dragon, the new style Chinese dragon, and the Chinese dragon from the Thomas and Friends Wood Range. That's based on a Thomas and Friends Big World Big Adventures story. And here's the yellow solo line caboose from the Mattel era. And that's it for the standard gauge line. There is a very small section of narrow gauge track, which is almost like an oval, but not exactly. So let's start here at the top of, near the edge of the bridge, where Freddy is, the 2013 Winter Fears Freddy. He's about to go down through the Man in the Hills tunnel, and here's a bit of a rock wall on these curved tracks to prevent engines from derailing onto the standard gauge line. And then here's Smudger at the wharf with Colin. Colin has a piece of cargo that he's about to put on Smudger's flatbed. This is actually Lori One's piece of cargo on flatbed, as you can tell, but it can work on the standard gauge or narrow gauge lines too. And then Smudger's going under the arched stone bridge. Here's Mighty Mac. We go under the 3-way switch, up onto the bridge and along the viaduct, and then back to Freddy's. Yeah, that's the very small section of narrow gauge track. And that concludes this layout tour. So again, I don't know who's going to be able to go to the train show. I've been talking about the show on Twitter and in the community post here on YouTube recently. It's at Entertainment Junction in Cincinnati, Ohio. The show is happening on August 3rd, which is a Saturday, from 10 to 5. And I will be there with this layout set up on a table, and I'll have different engines and trucks on display. And if anyone is able to go, I hope you have a good time, and if you see me, I'll look forward to meeting you. But anyways, that's going to do it for this layout tour. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you guys soon with the next video.